Last week, I asked you to pour the foundation of your application. This week, we frame the walls. But before we frame the walls, we need a compass. Otherwise, we might end up framing the walls in the wrong direction. And in this process, I see that happen more often than you'd think. So here's the question this week is built around. If school disappeared tomorrow, no grades, no classes, no assignments, who would you still be? That question makes most students freeze. It's kind of supposed to. If your identity is built mostly on what you achieve, the question feels like it has no answer. And that's not your fault. That's just what most of high school trains you to do. But the answer matters because over the next 24 weeks, when you sit down to write your essay, or when you have to choose between two schools that both look good on paper, you can't outsource that choice to your GPA. You have to make it from somewhere deeper. And this week, we find that place. Hi, I'm Dr. Heather Case. Welcome back to week 2 of From Stressed Out to Stand Out. If week 1 was the foundation of your house, this week is the compass we keep on the table while we build the house. Not to tell you what you've done, to tell you which direction you're facing. A compass doesn't measure you, it orients you. That's what we're building today. Here's the difference between a grade and a value. A grade is a direction from outside. Someone, a teacher, a college, a standardized test, assigns it to you and tells you how you're doing. You didn't create the standard. You're measured against it. A value is a direction from the inside. You name what matters to you. You face that direction, you walk. Nobody assigns it, and nobody can take it away. Both can move you forward, but only one of them keeps moving you when the outside voices stop talking. And in this admissions process, the outside voices stop talking a lot. There are weeks when no one knows what you should do next. Your friends are doing different things. Your parents are giving you conflicting advice. Your counselor has 400 other students. Social media is making everything worse. One person got in early, another got deferred, another's taking a gap year. In those weeks, and they will come, what tells you what to do? That's what the compass is for. Not to make the decision for you, but to give you a stable place to stand while you make it yourself. And here's why this matters for your application specifically. Admissions readers read thousands of files a year. They know the difference between a student who chose their essay topic because it sounded impressive and a student who chose it because it was actually true. The compass is how you find the true one. Let me name all 5 parts of your compass so that you have the whole picture. Then I'll tell you exactly where to start today. 1, values. Not what sounds good on a college application, what you actually do when nobody's grading you or nobody's watching. If you skip the optional study session to go to your little sister's recital, your values have something to say about it. Listen to what you choose when there's no external reward. 2, influences. 3 to 5 people whose voices live in your head. Could be a parent, a teacher, an older sibling, a coach, an author maybe you've never met. Knowing who's in there matters because some of those voices are helpful and some of them are louder than they should be. You can't evaluate the voice until you name whose it is. 3, strengths. Not the things you're listed as good at, the things you do without being asked. The things other people point out about you when they don't know you're paying attention. The compliments that feel obvious to you but surprise the person giving them. 4, mindset. Whether you talk to yourself like a coach or a critic. This one changes the fastest and it changes how you experience how you experience everything else this year. One single reframe can shift the whole process. 5, energy. What you're drawn to when nothing else is competing for your attention. A subject that lights up a kind of work that pulls you forward, a place where time disappears. Not what you think you should love, what you actually do. Start with the values. The rest fall into place once you know which direction you're facing. Let me tell you about a student I'll call Aaliyah. Aaliyah came to me at the start of her senior year as one of the strongest students I'd ever worked with. Straight A's, AP Scholar, student government, 2 varsity sports, the kind of resume that other parents whisper about at back to school night. She seemingly had everything, and she had no idea who she was underneath it. When we sat down to talk about her college essay, I asked her a simple question. Who are you when you're not achieving? She stared at me for a long time. Then she said, and I will never forget this, I don't know. I've never not been achieving. That's not a failure of Aaliyah. That's a failure of every adult who taught her implicitly or explicitly that achievement was her whole worth, that she was her GPA, that she was her titles. And it's the moment when her real college work began. Because before she could write a single word that colleges would remember, she had to figure out who she was when no one was clapping. What surfaced over the next few weeks wasn't on her resume. It was the time she'd spent helping her younger brother with his speech therapy appointments. Patiently, week after week, not because anyone asked her to, but because she was the one who noticed he needed it. It was the afternoons reading novels her grandmother sent her from Lagos. The way she calmed her teammates down before games, not by being loud, but by being steady. The fact that she liked teaching more than competing. By the time she wrote her essay, she wasn't writing about being the smart one. She was writing about being the steady one. That essay got her into her first choice school. But it started with one question. The same one I asked you at the top of this video. Open your College Clarity Journal, the same one from week 1, and write 3 things this week. 1. Write 5 sentences that begin, I am someone who. No achievements allowed, no titles, no GPA, no clubs or awards. Just notice what surfaces when you take achievement off the table completely. What's still there? 2. Name 3 to 5 people whose voices live in your head. Write their names. Write 1 sentence about what each of them has taught you, directly or by example. You don't have to share this with anyone. It's just for you. But knowing whose voice is in the room helps you decide when to listen and when to set it down. 3. Pick 1 value, just 1 word. Honesty, family, curiosity, growth, fairness, joy, or something else. Then write down 1 piece of evidence from the past 2 weeks that proves it. No aspirations, evidence only. Something you actually did or said or chose. That's the week. Not impressive on paper, but this is the work that makes every essay easier, every school choice clearer, and every rejection easier to hear in March, because your worth isn't resting on a decision made by someone else. Before we close, 1 breath together. Notice that you didn't have to be impressive to take that breath. You just had to be alive. That's the foundation of the compass. You exist before you achieve. You are a person before you're an application. Every time this year tells you that your worth is your GPA or your acceptance rate or what school you got into, come back to that breath. Come back to your journal. Come back to this. The compass is yours. Nobody can take it. If this lesson met you where you are, send it to 1 person who would recognize themselves in Aaliyah. There's at least 1 in your life. Maybe it's you. Next week, week 3, your story. We're going to take what you started naming today and find the pattern in it. Because the story you tell about yourself shapes who you become. And most students don't realize they're already telling a story. It's one of my favorite weeks in this series. So subscribe so you don't miss it. And if this video helped you, please send it to one person before you go. I want to remind you of something important. You are so much more than your application. Your worth isn't measured by acceptance rates or rejection emails. I want you to know that your story matters. Tell it honestly, tell it bravely, and know that I am always here cheering you on. I'll see you next week.